Hey everyone, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to play Grapefruit Moon by Tom Waits. So this tutorial is based on a viewer request as we had a subscriber that enjoyed my last tutorial on a Tom Waits tune that I did, so they requested that I covered this song as well. So we are in the key of C for this song, so all white keys. Now just before we get started, I just wanted to say that 95% of the song is in the introduction. So before, if you listen to the original version by Tom Waits, before you even start singing, there's a bit of a piano section at the beginning, but that section is literally 95% of the song. So if you can nail that down, the rest of the song will actually be easy. Along the way, there's probably a couple of verses or maybe in the chorus where there's a slight variation in that chord progression, but I'll show you how to approach that when we get there. So let's begin. So the first chord begins on the 1 chord, which is C major 7. And the way I voice that chord is with C's in the left hand, and then I play an E minor triad with the right hand. So C's in the left hand, E, G, B in the right hand, E, G, B, and that's your C major 7. To get a bit more depth to the sound, you can add in the G, so 1, 5, 1 in the left hand. And we just want to make sure with the left hand we're not playing it too loud, so then that way it's not sort of cluttering or making the sound too heavy and muddy. But if you add just enough pressure, it can give a little bit more depth than just playing the C octaves. Okay? And we're transitioning into a G sus. A G dominant sus. So the notes are G, D, F, and A. So just to begin. So the way I get to that chord, as you probably heard in the progression, it's then he hits this C. So essentially we want to finish with the 2 C's, one on our left hand and one on the right hand. Now I could easily show you how to count this. There's a bit of almost like a bit of a swing feel, but I think it might get a little bit too confusing if I sort of break down the rhythm. I find when we play songs in this sort of accompaniment style, it's better to just sort of trust your ear and always just relate it back to the original song and sort of mimic, what I'm doing and replicate what you hear. That's probably the best way to learn this, and over time, as you learn more and more songs, a lot of these rhythms, chords will be replicated and it becomes second nature. So it might seem very foreign at the beginning if you're sort of new to this style, but it's just a lot easier to learn that way by actually doing it than just breaking down how to count every single thing, or even notating it. I wouldn't even have a clue how to sight read that if that was on paper. Okay, here we go. So once we play that, we then want to transition into this F chord, and he's playing this melody on the right hand. F, G, A. So we want to play F, G, and then on the A, we want to play an F chord. So 1, 5, 1 on the left hand, F, C, F. And then we roll the chord into this F major dot triad in second inversion. Okay. And then it steps down into C over E. Now I'm playing it as a C sus2, C, D, G over E, but you can actually just play a C triad. Okay? So that section goes like this. So what are we doing? G dominant sus. Da, da, da. So F, G, A at the top, sorry. So F, G, A, C, A, C over E. And now we have a walk up, which is what you're going to hear in the song. So we go from F, A, C, F. The left hand moves up a half step into an F sharp, and then the right hand, we're just dropping the top note, F, into an A, and that's going to give us an F sharp minor 7 flat 5, very common chord in jazz. And then what we want to do is go into a C over G, so it's a C chord just in a different inversion. And then what we want to do is drop our left hand thumb, so on the E to a D, and then we want to drop the C to a B on the right hand. So that's going to give us our cadence. So C to the 5 chord, perfect cadence, back to the C, down here. So C, E, G, C. Okay? So let's practice that walk up again. F sharp minor 7 flat 5. So it's just A minor over F sharp. C in, I think that's second inversion. Resolve, create tension to the G chord. Now in the original song he's doing I think there's a bit of a melodic sequence happening. It's going to be quite hard for me to explain it, but I think he's doing something like this. Something like that. Look, you can sort of play around the notes, but essentially all he's doing is playing the individual notes of the G dominant 7 chord. You don't even have to play the F, because that's a dominant 7 which will naturally resolve back to the 1 chord, which is C. So if you don't really know anything about dominant chords, just ignore what I just said and just play it as a G chord. So the walk up, whoops. Now we have another walk up. Okay, so what am I doing there? So once we get to that C chord, we're playing this melody in the right hand. Now the simple version is like this, so C. So the E is the melody note, you can just play E without anything else. Back to the G, sorry. Once you hit that G, you then want to walk into the E with the left hand, and then finally coming down to the F. Oops. So, that's right. Okay. So it's going back to the C chord. So the melody is C, F, roll the C, you can just play it static. C into a D minor, so it's a little bit different going up this time. So now we're just playing the normal D minor chord. C, you can play C and E in the right hand, and E in the left hand, back to the F. Okay, I'll show you how to count that part in a second. So let's play that second walk up before going into the verse. So we finish on C. Come on guys, sorry. C. 2, 3, and 4, and then it repeats. So I'll show you how to count that part. So when you get to that F chord after that walk up, so we hit it, so on 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. And then it will basically repeat into the verse. The reason why I'm showing you how to count this section, because it is a bit tricky to understand it. Again, listen to the original, use your ear if that's easier for you, but if you want to have something to just give you a bit of a prompt to count that chromatic part, this is how I conceptualize it. So F comes on the new bar, so it's, what are we doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, I should have explained what the notes are. So it's C. So you play the F chord. 2, and on beat 3, 3, and 4, and 1. So it's chromatic. C, our destination note is G, but we're trying to get there chromatically from C. We're basically playing every single note that comes up before G. So if you know your chromatic scale, if you practice like me when classical music, whoops. That part will be easy. So the fingers I'm using is 3 on the C, and then the only other finger I'm using is the thumb, and then I'm alternating between 1 and 3. So 1 and 3. practice that part separately. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. But when you get to that G, you go back to the C chord. So. Whoops. Okay, it's a bit tricky because we're going back to that chord. You essentially want to land with the second finger in terms of playing that C major 7 again, okay? Middle finger on to third finger on the G sharp, but then I use that second finger to land and come back to that C chord, okay? Now, what is the advanced version of that last walk up? I think I played something before the easy version, so let's cover the advanced version if you want something a bit different. So when we get to that C chord, so the melody is the same, but what I'm doing with the D chord is I'm playing a minor 11, so it's a C chord over D. Really, it's only that D minor 11 that's different, so here we go. Everything else is the same. But then the second time is just a D minor. And you can play a C over E there if you want, or just the C and E. Back to the F. Then now he goes into the verse. Exactly the same as what we just did in the intro. So what are we doing? And for the verse, you don't really have to play the melody in the right hand because now the singing is coming in, so we don't want to overplay over the voice. I think he does a little bit of that, but look, once the singing starts, you can just play the chords and we'll sort of run through it. The chords are all the same. The only thing is we're just taking out the individual melodies. So once we get into the verse, we get something that sounds like this. So I'll let you have a play around with that, but I wanted to show you something that happens in the walk up when the singing starts. I believe the lyrics are shining down on me, so it's like shining down on me. So the rhythm is slightly different. So we're holding each chord longer than the introduction. So this is how you would count it. It's quite easy. So I'll show you the counting for this. So when we get to the lyrics, it's one star shining, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and instead of playing the C, we're actually going into a G. So pretty much, it's always going to land on a G for the verses, and we'll come back to that C chord and that C to G sequence. I think in one of at the end of the next verse, or it's coming out of the lyrics in front of me, so I'll double check that. Okay, so we get to that. It's just a little bit slower for that part where he says shining down on me. Now what we're going to do from this G chord, we do this chromatic passage back to the G that we did, similar to what we did in F, but there's obviously a few less notes. So when we get to that G, the way I count it is like this: 2, 3, 4, and 1. I think it's a bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay. So there's a bit of a pause when he gets to that chromatic note. So we're coming back to that C chord again, but we're starting from B because we're finishing. We start on G for this chord. It's a G chord before we do that chromatic passage. 2, pause. Da, da. So you might have to sort of listen to that, but I'll play it in context from the walk up so you can just see how it sounds. So okay, here we go. Okay. So for this part, when we get to the chorus, so it's 1, 2. Okay, so the lyrics, I believe, are heard that tune. So heard that tune, and now I'm honey, can't you see? when we get to the chorus before, I believe the lyrics are, because every time I hear that melody, I'm not going to make your ears bleed with my singing, but sometimes I just have to do it to sort of figure out where I am. So when we get to that last walk up before the chorus, so the lyrics are honey can't you see? Excuse my Australian accent. Honey can't, or honey can't you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. We get to the G. 1, and the rhythm is 1, 2, 3. When you get to beat 3, for beats 4 and, we play this melody here to drop into the A minor 7. C, D. And then the chord is this, C. C in first inversion over A, that's your A minor 7, because C is the 3rd degree. So if you play a major triad over a minor chord, over the 3rd degree of a minor chord, that gives you your major 7. Minor 7, sorry. Minor 7, not major 7. Then we're just walking down from A to C over E, so we're just going diatonically. The melody is like this. So hit the C, then walk into this G. So D, G being the left hand, G is in the bass. Then we go into an F, the same shape we've learned earlier, into a C sus2 over E. Alternatively, you can just play C if you don't know how to play sus chords. Then we go back to the A minor, but we're playing the inversion just lower than what we started with. So C is now at the top of the melody, or C is the melody note, sorry. Back into that G. Finish on that F. Then we want to get that chromatic passage again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then he essentially repeats that the chord sequence in the last part of that. So, and the Grapefruit Moon one starts shining. But before there's a bit of a break for a little piano section. We do the walk up from this F chord, exactly the same as the introduction, so it's a little bit faster. So it's on every beat. 1, 2, 3. Every beat. 1, 2. Play the C again. So we'll come back to that. But let's play that chorus again, okay? So going from that walk up into the chorus, so it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So if you want to add a bit of left-hand melody, you're just playing the notes individually. So you can add the 1, 5, 1 pattern to all of your chords, F, C, F. But then for the E, it's not. We're playing an inversion, so it's E, C, E. Okay. A, E, A, G, D, G, F, C, F. I'm just gonna fly through that. Sorry, if you can't play that, just stick to the basic one octaves. Okay. So. Last walk up, it's I believe it's a little bit quicker, like the intro. And back to the C inversion. Resolve to the G, so C inversion. Drop those notes down that we did at the beginning, and then that's going to set up for this the same walk up pattern that we did, but it's just playing it in a. It's just keeping the momentum going. So you'll probably hear that after he gets that. He says that chorus. So we go from. What did I? Basically, now he goes into the next verse. So never had no destination. So pretty much the same thing, exactly the same pattern. And then there's a really big piano break, or lyrics break, whatever you want to call it, where the piano is just basically going through that whole progression. But I think there's a slight difference in the melody, I believe, before we get to the last verse. I won't play all of that. I hope that gives you an idea of what to do, but we'll get to that big piano break. So, it's the same thing after that first chorus. this note over here. I think this is the second piano break. You might hear that, but look, it doesn't really matter. You can just play the same way we've done it, but I thought I'd just show it to you. You might hear it and be like, oh, that's not what I heard in the original song. But at the same time, I'm not showing you everything note for note, as I think it's important to just give you the base, you know, what the bass chords are, and I'm probably giving you about 90% of the song, but there's probably a few other little extra notes he's doing, but you know, feel free to have a listen to it and sort of add those little sections in if you want to be that precise. But generally when I play songs like this, I don't really aim to get it note for note unless it's something where I really like the sound of it and it's something different that I need to learn, then I would play it precisely. But otherwise I like to give myself a break and not be too, you know, too much of a perfectionist, I should say. Okay, so yeah, again, there's like that large piano part where he's just repeating through the chord progression. I think he even plays so he even plays the chords in the chorus, yeah, obviously without any singing. But when you get to that last verse, which I believe the lyrics says, now I'm smoking, you know, all that part towards the end, it's pretty much the same. But the only thing I want to add to this is when he gets to the end, so the final line of the verse, so, and the Grapefruit Moon, so he's just repeating. So for this last part, we do have a fast walk up. So generally when you know, before all of those vocal breaks, you'll sort of hear that. So whenever we have the fast walk up, like the introduction, it's always going to hit a C, that C inversion before the G. Okay? So just have a listen to that. I'm pretty sure I've given the exact areas to put that in, but generally in the verses, you have the slow version, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, but that goes to a G. Yeah, that's probably a better way to think about it. So whenever we land on that G chord after that walk up from the F, the part, every time we hit the G where it has the chromatic part, so that part is always played slower, but then when you have the faster walk up, that's generally indicating it's the end of, you know, the particular verse or section before there's those, you know, breaks. But the only difference in the ending is he, when we get to that last part, so, and the Grapefruit Moon, the last line, da, da, one star shining, then he's playing the walk up from the C. Exactly the same, but there's that little melody. He's got that little, you know, rhythmic thing happening there when he lands on that C, but everything else is the same. Something like that. So yeah, that's how it sounds. To be honest, it might be the other way around actually. I think that's right. Ignore that. I think that happens a little bit earlier. I'll just show it to you anyways. Okay, but I think what's happening in that last verse is this. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm not a huge Tom Waits fan. I've actually never heard of this composer, so I'm hopefully just teaching you the chords, so you guys probably know this song better than me, but I can confirm in that last walk up from the C to the F, he's doing an F major 9. Okay, so it sounds like this. So we get to that C. I think that's right. I'll play like this, okay? F, C, F. Then we play an A minor 7, so it's a big 4-note 5-note chord. So da, 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 da. Also, I'll play it a little bit easier for you. Oh, then yeah, it's got that part. So basically, the end part is just cycling from that walk up. It just repeats that C to F walk up a couple of times before finishing on the. it finishes a bit slower than that, okay? But let's just have a play around with that before wrapping this tutorial up. So what are we doing? So we finish on that walk up, so I'll play it in Conte. Ah, come on. So, I gotta fix that up. There we go. That's sort of roughly how the song finishes. I might have butchered that a little bit, but hopefully it gives you a bit of an idea of that little variation in that walk up. So yeah, look, it's a very fun song. So I'm actually enjoying, you know, it's of course helping with my own ear training. So I do enjoy these viewer requests. I am of the assumption that for those viewing this song, you obviously have a bit of piano playing, and you know, you have experience playing these chords, so I do move a little bit quick. But of course, if you want something a bit more beginner friendly, feel free to suggest a tune. Otherwise, you know, I could always show easier variations, but I'm sure you probably enjoy the richness that some of these lush chords bring, so you're probably happy with that. So just slow down the parts of this tutorial and listen to the original song, and that will hopefully help you play it and, you know, be a bit more confident with that.